in 2021 when Ralph Northam was like going crazy passing all those laws. Like a lot of people don't realize we had almost a full scale boogaloo here in Virginia. Like he didn't even campaign on gun laws at all. Like even the lefty like commie weirdos around here are like very pro 2A. And like so he pissed off both the left and the right with that. And all the militias came marching out of the hills, and they went to Richmond and told him that if he passed even a single more gun law, he would be forcibly removed from office and arrested and tried before the National Guard. And he quit passing gun laws. He got the message. It was and my sheriff led 94 counties of worth of sheriffs to Richmond and told him they will not enforce his laws like at all.
Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you. Welcome to the Party Pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 353. I'm talking to Travis Wells of Appalachian Liberty podcast. We're going to talk about growing up and life in Appalachia, Liberty, and just see where else we go with this. It should be a fun conversation. How are you, Travis?
I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you doing?
It's doing all right. You know, we're getting started on Labor Day weekend, and and then the fall will come up. The leaves will start to turn, and you'll see some beautiful trees out there. It's fall in Appalachia can definitely be an amazing thing.
I can feel it in the air when it turns fall. Like I walked out my door just the other day, and all of a sudden there's dead leaves in my yard, and I'm like, yes. I hate summertime.
I don't hate summertime, but you're just like thinking, because fall means winter's coming. But but it's
you get 2 seasons here in Virginia, hot and cold.
Yeah, well, Virginia, and you're in Southwest Virginia. It's definitely. Mm-hmm. But are you pretty high up there though? Because you got some nice mountains.
My living room is at 2160 according to my survival watch. So and then in a few places you pop up to around 3,000 in this area, but
also if you have your smartphone nowadays and you go to a website called whatismyelevation.com, you can figure that out anywhere it's pretty cool.
Right.
You get that wherever you are. You just I suppose it uses GPS or some kind of satellite tracking, but it figures out how high you are. So that's a nice little feature. Southwest Virginia. I haven't been down to Southwest Virginia in a long time, but it's
I rarely leave it. And if I ever do leave it, like I'm bitching about it the entire time. Like I do not leave it like leaving these mountains at all.
There is something about the mountains. Travis, I've noticed it too. That's where you find the toughest people anywhere, whether it be and I've noticed it in the Caucasus Mountains. Places that just
I think it's mostly just like a psyop put out by Hollywood, because if you look at American history, right, there's only been one amendment to the Constitution ever repealed. Well, technically it's been abrogated, but whatever. So the 18th Amendment, that was Prohibition.
Yes.
So the feds, they marched into Appalachia thinking they were going to be able to just completely destroy our entire way of life and tell us, hey, that's illegal now. And we fought back, and it stunned them that we were actually good at it. And so many feds got shot and disappeared that they just got scared, went home and changed the Constitution. So from Appalachia to you guys, you're welcome.
Travis, as much as we all hear about Al Capone in Chicago, and certainly I think that changed the nature and the culture of Chicago. I see exactly where you come from. I had ancestors who were moonshiners, and people have made liquor at home forever. You go back also to go back and think, earlier about the Whiskey Rebellion, which was in Western Pennsylvania. I guess we could probably call that Appalachia, but some people will debate that. But yes, it's a.
I think so. Yeah, because I'm honestly surprised that Alexander Hamilton was able to even like take those guys and bring them back to Washington, because maybe they just weren't as dug in as we are now. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, we had immigrants coming in from like my family. My family roots dates back to the 1560s, according to DNA tests, from two separate settler groups in East Tennessee and southern Kentucky.
In the 1560s?
1560s. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even know there were immigrants in those years. But that's what the DNA test said, so who knows?
Well, yeah, because I'm first of all, I'm thinking of Roanoke Island, and that was 1585,
mm-hmm.
and then 1607, and then of course Jamestown and the Massachusetts. But yeah, wow, I suppose
it could be like French trappers and stuff like that, because the
French trappers. It could be people from other explorations, or people who just also there was that that was that. But that wouldn't surprise me. People just escape and then go somewhere, and most and I don't know. And of course, there were some indigenous Americans living there too. But yeah, it's pretty wild. I never thought of the Appalachian role in ending Prohibition. But yeah, and Travis, that's also indirectly, isn't that how NASCAR got started?
Yeah, it is. So they would like the guys, they would have to run their souped up cars to outrun the law and get their moonshine delivered, and a lot of them actually ran on moonshine. They would open the intake, because you need a lot more oxygen when you're running on something that flammable. But they would open the intake, and then later on, once they got tired of running from the cops, they started racing each other, and then that's how we have NASCAR now. So
yeah, but it said we're racing on roads that go up and down, have lots of as we like to call them, hairpin turns, and we often don't have guardrails, and there are drop-offs that might be 100 feet. If I learned to drive in Appalachia, therefore I do not fear driving anywhere else.
Yeah, my buddy from Ireland, he came over here and he thought he would just go exploring, and he didn't like, and I didn't want to like tell him. I didn't want to make it sound like I was trying to control him or tell him what to do while he was here. But I was like, there's certain things that you just don't do, and one of them is just disappearing and not letting anybody know where you're going. Like, because like if he would have just told me where he was going to be, I'd be like, okay, at least we know where to start looking for you if we don't hear from you, And anyway, he was up on the Blue Ridge Parkway at like well past dark, and that fog rolls in. It's thicker than death, and you can't even see the hood of your car, and he's scared to death, and he's got a truck following him, and he's freaking out. And he finally made it back, but he was like, I'm never doing that again.
Oh yeah, it's like I've driven in New York, Chicago, and LA. It's like I hope if I can figure out a way for any of my kids to learn how to drive on roads like this, I hope they can. Just the fog. I drove back in Western Maryland through the snow once, and boy, that was an adventure. And of course, as I was driving west, it changed from rain to snow, because we also had a massive temperature drop, and it would be snow up higher, but. And of course, Maryland really doesn't have any mountains anyway. I mean, they only go up to 3,300. But
yeah, that's kind of my theory as to why General Lee lost up that way, because you take all these mountain boys that was helping him win these battles, and then put them in flat terrain with no cover, and they got their butts kicked.
It's very easy to fight a defensive war in the mountains, but you can't really fight an offensive war. That's
and that's in the 13 battles that Lee won. Like, most of them were straight up defensive battles, because like if you look at Antietam, the Union came at him in waves, and his boys were just sitting in the trees. I think it's just to the south of the church, and they were just mowing them down as they kept coming. And I mean, a lot of people don't quite realize that like the Union had pretty much unlimited manpower because they opened the floodgates
Yeah.
of immigration and brought in these like Irish and Scottish and all kinds of immigrants from all over, and immediately put them right into the service. And I'm just like, you know, you'll eventually run out of bullets before he runs out of immigrants, you know.
Yeah, and that was one thing, and of course Grant's or Lee's most famous loss was when he did go on the offensive. But I think he also
Yeah.
realized, if we do this now, if we win this, it's over, and
Yeah.
it probably would have been over. But he went into Gettysburg and just
well, I mean, they were really well dug in at Meade too. It wasn't just that he screwed up or anything. It was more he because if you look at Pickett's charge, he tried to bubble out his center formation, and then they had to march over a mile under heavy artillery fire and gunshots. And by the time they finally made contact, they did do some damage with that, but it just wasn't that great of a. The terrain was against him, and the terrain makes, at least in symmetrical warfare that wars used to be fought in prior to World War One, terrain was everything. But now terrain is kind of everything with drone technology and stuff like that. But back then it was like absolutely everything. And Pickett's charge kind of failed, even though it did a lot of damage.
I do wonder too. There were even some regiments, in the Smokies and in Western North Carolina and Southwest Virginia. And I wonder how that impacted the British, because the British don't have those kind of mountains either. Although there is some similarity. I've looked on geological surveys that apparently the Scottish Highlands and the Appalachians were actually part of one mountain range years ago.
Yeah, that's correct. They're still part of the same mountain range. If you look at the underwater in the North Atlantic, they dive under the ocean and then they reemerge in Scotland.
Yeah.
So Scottish Highlands actually are the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah.
Maybe they're a little older, but yeah, it's a.
Yeah,
there's a little less oxygen. And you just
buddy of mine years ago,
you can set yourself up high where you can see everything, so you've naturally got an advantage too. It's
yeah. I mean, you can see for miles up here once you get used to it. And then, like, from the time I was 10, I touched a gun just about every day of my life, and you learn to be very accurate with them because like not so much these days, because we can go to the grocery store just like everybody else, but like back in like Sergeant York's days in World War One, if you missed, you didn't get to eat that day. So people quickly learned to not miss. And that was what scared the crap out of the Germans when Sergeant York came crawling out of the sticker bushes.
10 years old, by Appalachian standards, you were an old man the first time you touched a gun.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like let's see, my first gun that I owned was a 20 gauge, and I think Dad bought that for me when I was 11. But he let me shoot one of his guns at 10, and it knocked the dog shit out of me.
Because that's true. Your arms aren't as long. You don't have as much body weight. I can imagine that. I can imagine the kickback that you'd get from that. That probably would overwhelm a kid a lot.
Yeah,
because those guys, I guess that's what I call it, the kickback. I don't think. Because when
my buddy from Ireland, he came over here, and I threw him a redneck birthday party, and he was like, "What's a redneck birthday party?" And I was like, "Well, you're about to find out." So we go to Royal King. We get we get like a couple things of tannerite, and we mix that up. And he's like, "What is this stuff?" And I'm like, "You're about to find out." I didn't tell him very much until I set it out there about 50 yards, and I was like, "Okay, here's the 30-30, shoot it." And he's like, "Oh, there was fire there."
Yes. Maybe we could start little kids on pistols instead of rifles, because pistols aren't quite as I mean, they don't
Oh,
shoot.
I
They're
agree.
not for hunting, but at least they can.
Well,
They don't
also BB
have the
guns
recoil.
and pellet rifles. Yeah.
Yeah, rifle. Yeah, there's a lot because you really. I think it also just tells you this is a powerful weapon because just look at what you feel when you get
Oh yeah.
knocked back by.
And I mean, and it's essential to teach them early because like what my dad taught me was the only thing coming out the end of that gun is death. And the second you disrespect it or in any way act stupid with it, either somebody's going to get killed or maimed, or let me, I'm trying to remember his exact words. He said either it's going to hurt you or kill or maim you, or worse, somebody else. Because like
Yes,
if you're doing something stupid and you hurt yourself, that's on you. But if you're doing something stupid and you hurt somebody else, that's even worse, you know.
because you'll probably end up getting charged with a crime. But yeah, it's a.
Well, also just you've taken another life, you know, and like it's all well and good if they're trying to kill you, but if you're just doing something stupid and you kill an innocent person, like that's abominable. It's not even remotely okay.
I think people who have guns probably value life more than people who don't
Mhm.
have guns. As
Yeah.
bizarre as that might sound, they seem to.
Yeah. Well, I think the government really wants to curb gun ownership because you can't rule a people by force that can
Yeah,
fight back. And that's why the UK took all their guns. They used a school shooting as like a pretense for
yeah.
it. But now look at what they're going through right now with all the massive invaders and the boats and violent immigrants like sexually abusing their children and stuff like that. They can't fight back now. And if that happened over here, we could just settle it in like 2 seconds. The dude's dead. Find a hole to drop him in.
I think that's the one thing that really keeps gun control from happening. I think they realize it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
We can pass these laws, but in Britain they've went so far as pepper spray.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, which is not deadly, and I don't even know if it has any other than. I mean, pepper spray is just there to neutralize the person. It's not there to kill them. But
Yeah. Well, see, my buddy from Ireland, he said that even paintball guns over there, you have to have a license for, and you can't take them home. You got to lock them up at the club that you're a part of. And I'm like, really? Holy crap! It's just a paintball gun, you know. And I'm like, how are you ever gonna be like a threat with a paintball gun? Like you'd have to hit somebody in the eye, and even then, it wouldn't kill them. It would just blind them, probably.
yeah,
I don't know.
but that's often going for the eyes is the best bet. I mean,
Yeah,
my
true.
landlord's pit bull once got a hold of a squirrel, and the squirrel went right for the eyes and scratched the eyes and got away. So
Oh wow.
if you hit the eyes on any animal,
Hmm.
you've kind of you've made it, you've at least incapacitated them long enough that you can get
Right.
away. Sometimes I remember that one guy, the time of the Dukes of Hazzard, the guys were fighting, and then some guy grabs some dirt and throws the dirt in his eyes. It's like, yeah, and
Yeah.
suddenly the
Or
fight's over.
or the
Yeah,
King of the Hill thing, Dale Gribble, pocket sand, just.
pockets in. Yeah, you get the eyes. You can pretty. It's
Hmm.
really the most vital organ you can go for. It's
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah, it was. Oh man, I love King of the Hill. That stuff is hilarious.
we need it. We need it. Maybe we need a King of the Hill for Appalachia, something like that. I don't know what that would look like, but it would.
That would be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's so wild. Yeah, yeah. The
We
whole thing.
kind of have Squidbillies, like,
Yeah,
because that's technically West Virginia, and Squidbillies was funny as hell. Like it didn't get anywhere near the
yeah.
credit it should have gotten.
And in Appalachia, I don't know. Actually, somebody put up a picture. Somebody saw there was a picture of my, like
Mhm.
what's happening in my county where I grew up. And it's like, oh, a bald eagle. But do you ever still see any big cats or even grizzly bears there? I hear you still might see some bears there.
Yeah, there's black bears here, brown bears. Those are more out west. There's bald eagles here too. Like they've
Oh yeah.
released them. I don't think they're native, but at least they weren't for a while. But they've released a few in this area, and sometimes you'll see them. I've spotted one at a very long distance, so I've never been able to get a picture of it. But they're beautiful. Like they are majestic creatures.
Yeah, eagles are. I think that's why they changed it, made it the symbol. Although some people, and there's so many people that use an eagle for their own symbol. Like I've seen political parties, and
Hmm.
the Russian Libertarian Party has an eagle for its mascot. It's just this
Yeah.
majestic bird that, of course, eagles don't really attack people, but they certainly will. They certainly will go after some
Yeah.
prey and stuff like that. Or
Yeah, we got a lot of Canadian geese around here this
yeah.
around this time, and they're like it's this huge flock of just extremely aggressive birds.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, they are super aggressive if you get close. They will F you right up. It's crazy.
I never thought of Canadian geese being weird. As far as I know, of course, the bird you really don't want to mess around with is, although not in America, but an ostrich. Do
Oh
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they run 35 miles an hour,
Hmm.
and they've got really strong legs. You do not want to mess around.
Yeah,
Only in Australia.
when I was in Africa, they did tell us that they were dangerous, but you wouldn't really get close to them. The ones that they said was really dangerous was ironically just the ants, because like the ant hills over there would come out of the ground at like 7 feet tall, like
Oh,
towers that they built. And
wow.
they said by the time that we could get over there to rescue you, you would already be dead, and then we just let them eat you. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that. 7 foot anthills. Yeah, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and they're all like big ants like that. So like, I'm like,
Yeah, all the insects in Africa are bigger. I don't know how
yeah.
that happened, but they are. They're I don't I can imagine what their cockroaches look like. Just their yeah.
Elephants are just as entertaining as I expected them to be. Like we were on like this safari truck going through this like
Yeah.
wilderness reserve, and they had like these short squat trees over there, right? So the this big bull elephant, he just takes this huge, just Jurassic Park sized dump, just blah, and then he walks up and over one of the trees, and then it flips up at the back and wipes his butt for him. I'm like, that's a boss in his environment, right?
Yes, elephants. Oh, geez, I can imagine what they leave behind. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, it
prize.
was entertaining.
What was the smell?
Well, it was pretty far away. I couldn't smell. I can't smell anything usually on a good day, so I have no idea. But I barely have a sense of smell at all. When I actually do smell something, it kind of stuns me. I'm like, what is that? I'm not used to having that sense.
That might be a disadvantage when you're out in the wild. I don't know if you need how much your smell helps you, but at least you smell smoke. You might.
Well, I was actually at a campsite one day. I was camping, and this just absolutely horrid smell. Like it kind of smelled like it just smelled like death. Like it just really really bad. But it was coming from one side of the camp to like, and I was smelling it right, and I was like, damn, that is horrible. And then it feels and it's kind of moving around the camp, like coming from different areas. Uh, Like like it was completely pitch black and the forest was dead silent. And I don't know, man. That people say that's what the Wendigo smells like, but I've obviously never seen a Wendigo, but like I mean, I heard Bigfoot's like really smelly too, so I have no idea. But it was just this absolutely fucked smell. It was so bad.
Yeah. What's a Wendigo?
Mm. That is an Algonquin folklore legend of people who are starving in winter and they start eating humans.
Oh,
And yeah, and they develop like supernatural powers, like being able to move like really fast and be really, really strong. It's actually fairly well documented too, because it's an actual medical term called Wendigo psychosis. And people of like Algonquin bloodlines and legends, they'll think they're turning into a Wendigo if they get too hungry. Um, but I'm not saying they're real. But there's over 1,000 years of Native American legends saying they're real. The Cherokee even believed it a little bit too, but their mythology is a little bit different. Um, there's this one story with French trappers. They were using Algonquins as uh, trackers as guides, right? And they have this. They were at their camp one day, and this really skinny, pale white guy comes crawling out of the bushes asking for help. And immediately the trackers of the Algonquin, they don't trust this guy at all. He's like super frail and gaunt. And then they sit him down and give him some food to eat, and he's just picking at it, even though he's clearly starving. Like he's not even really eating like you'd expect a starving man to do. And he keeps looking at the children that are with them and commenting on how like fat and plump they are and how well fed. So they send trackers back and to backtrack him, like where to figure out where he came from, and they found human flesh in his campfire that he had around 3 days ago, 3 days prior. And the Algonquin like immediately knew what he was because they figured, this guy, he's turned into a Wendigo because he's eating human flesh, and that's the telltale signs. And the once they get back from that campsite, they report to the leaders that there was human flesh and like bones in his campfire that had been eaten by him. And they kind of distract him, and they put an axe in the back of his head and bury him. And basically, once you've tasted human flesh, you are a Wendigo from that point on, as far as Algonquin legend goes.
I can imagine those kind of legends catch on among the Appalachians. That is a certain way. That's the thing too.
Mm-hmm.
What did people do in Appalachian winter? I can only imagine. They had to be hunters and nothing else because you can't grow any food.
Well, that's a common misconception. There's mushrooms all year round.
Okay, mushrooms, yeah.
Then the pine trees, especially the eastern white pine. If you chip off the bark with your hatchet, little by little, and just remove that outer layer, there's a white spongy layer just underneath that. It's about maybe a 1/4 inch thick. You can peel that off with your knife, and then you could even cook that into noodles and stuff like that, and you can live on that for months, if in starvation conditions. Like it's extremely nutrient dense. If you can find a pine tree, you can survive. It's not just a hunting thing, but hunting definitely helps.
I never thought of eating off pine trees, but I can imagine some of these things are pretty nutrient dense. It's as weird as it sounds too. From what I hear, mm-hmm. insects are actually very nutrient dense.
Mm-hmm. I've never
people out of me, but like the protein. If you had a pound of ants, you'd get a lot more protein than say from a pound of beef.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never been able to stomach the idea of eating a bug, but maybe one day if I'm hungry enough. I'm sure you'll eat anything if you're hungry enough.
I've certainly learned that if you're thirsty enough, you'll drink anything. I mean, but not ever been hungry enough that I.
Oh yeah, I think that's how people originally discovered beers. They just had this stuff laying around rotten, and then they was like, I got to drink something. I'm dying. Then they're like,
fermented,
really
the other thing too, we were talking about the whiskey rebellion. That was something you could do. Yeah. You wouldn't want your corn to rot, so you'd make the corn into whiskey, and that was another way to keep it. And you'd have something of value that people wanted to buy.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why the tax on whiskey was such a big deal. It's and I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like if you look at like Western Pennsylvania, it was basically an anarchist commune there for a while, and it was. Like it's mostly the Pennsylvania Dutch and Irish now, but like Amish, not Irish. Anyway,
Well, the Amish are more in the east, though. They're over by Lancaster. There are also some Amish in Ohio around. I guess you'd say if you went west of maybe a little bit go east of Columbus, but a little bit north, there's some Amish in that area too. Around maybe not quite to Interstate 77, but
Right.
But there's some Amish in Ohio. But yeah, there's not really.
Okay.
I don't know much Amish in Western Pennsylvania though. But,
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I had that wrong then.
but it's more over by Lancaster in that area. But yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't quite understand how Alexander Hamilton was able to get those guys and bring them back, but I guess he did. And he tried to get them executed. I'm like, you little prick. Luckily, Washington pardoned them all.
Yeah, I don't think. It's the one of the more interesting characters, although not that well known. I don't know if you know much about him. Was it Sevier? Is that his last name?
I know Sevierville. That's
Sevier. Yes,
Tennessee, where my family.
Yeah, Severe. Maybe it's Severe, but maybe it is Severe, but it's Sevier. I know he was.
Yeah.
A popular general from the Revolutionary War. We had some. There was another.
Really read about him. I might have to look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple places around here named after Revolutionary generals. Where I took this picture, that's my background. Sorry, I'm hiding the mess, by the way. But it was Brigadier General Kazimierz Piławski. He was a Polish immigrant.
Oh yes, yeah.
And he was a straight up badass. Like he was a lead from the front sort of guy, and he took a mortal wound in Savannah, Georgia, leading our cavalry against the British, and he died like 3 days later. And I'm just like, man, what a Giga Chad! Like you're at the point of the formation when you're leading our cavalry. Like holy crap.
Severe. Yeah, I guess Severe. He's buried in Knox County, Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, I need to look him up. I've never heard of him before.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, you look at some of these cities and you wonder, gee, where'd that name come from? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and and the thing about history is like it's impossible to know it all because you're kind of studying everything that's ever happened. So best case scenario, you got a oversimplified view no matter what you've studied,
Yeah, Lord Dunmore's War, Fort Watauga, Kings Mountain. Those are some of the battles he was involved with.
Oh, right on.
And he was also apparently they were going to, I don't know if you know about that, but they were going to try to create the state of Franklin for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The big podcast I was on recently out in Franklin County, the Appalachian podcast, they're out in Franklin, and like that is some of the most beautiful country you've ever seen. It could easily rival Eastern Tennessee. It's crazy. We get to fire a cannon and all kinds of stuff, and I kind of wish they were able to make a Franklin County, Franklin State, but I don't know. Like economically, I doubt it would work because you got Virginia completely surrounding you.
True, yeah, and it's hard to say what if they had more states, but some of these states aren't that necessarily.
What I want to understand someday is Rhode Island. How do you just cut out a tiny little thing like that and then you still get 2 senators? That's what I want to understand.
Rhode Island is an interesting case because it was basically heretics who were thrown out of Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
And it was often called Rogues Island, and Rhode Island was the first colony that just said you can be part of any church and live here, because the Puritans were not that way at all.
Oh wow!
Yeah, sometimes they call it Rogues Island, But
okay.
Yeah, the smaller colonies. I sometimes wonder, what America would look like if all of our states were like the New England states, because they're all quite small.
Yeah, I guess back then it was more how fast you could travel. And I mean, if you really look at the maps dating back to Jamestown, like Virginia used to be most of the country, and then they just kept cutting sections of Virginia off
Yeah.
to make other states.
Yeah, Virginia has a very interesting history, and you think about how far it was to travel. Say from Norfolk all the way as far west as you can go in Virginia now. It's a very very long trip, especially with horses. But I
Oh
know
yeah,
there were different claims though. They all kind of claimed west, but Virginia also basically wanted to claim the whole what became the Northwest Territory, which is why because Pennsylvania never claimed beyond their western boundary, which is why you have the northern panhandle of West Virginia, which is where I'm from.
right.
Because it was when they broke it off, it was the territory. The official name was Territory Northwest of the Ohio River. So that wasn't northwest of the Ohio, so
Right
it
on.
was part of Virginia.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, well, people just call it the Northwest Territory because that's shorter. But
Right on. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that. That's cool.
yeah, and then of course Kentucky was part of Virginia, and it was called Kentucky County at once, and I know.
Right on.
I think the interesting thing, I know there are several counties that Virginia lost twice. They lost. I think for example, they lost Mason County when Kentucky became a state, and then they lost Mason County again when West Virginia became a state.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that would probably be like, yeah, it was like the Civil War is like 1863, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really studied that too much. I probably should. I'm more like, I'm more, I mostly do like ancient history and then like hill folk history, like Sergeant York and stuff like that, and moonshiners
Well,
and
you
stuff like
know
that.
something about the Army of Northern Virginia, though it sounds like. Although
Well, yeah, a little bit, but
you're not, even though you're not from Northern Virginia, which is kind of a completely different world now. But
it really is. Like it's like I always say, it's like a completely different state. Like we don't even claim Loudoun County because they're just all weirdos and feds.
it's gradually become suburbs. It's like the district has moved out further and further.
Yeah, it's pretty up that way, but like the people are completely different. Like they're like either super snooty and don't want to talk to you, or they're, I don't know, like just straight out weirdos that want to let men in little girls' rooms.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know where I had a cousin who lived in Waynesboro, and she loved Waynesboro. I think maybe Waynesboro is still more like the Southwest than like there, but who knows?
Maybe.
Uh,
Yeah, around here, I'm actually kind of I know I say some crazy shit on Twitter sometimes, but like the around here, I'm actually kind of a moderate. These old men around here that were in Vietnam and stuff like that, like at the drop of a hat, they'll start talking about blowing bridges and all kinds of stuff, and I'm sitting there like, that cool.
that was a different. I can imagine how Appalachian people would adjust to fighting in the jungle, though. Man,
Hmm.
that's just another breed all alone too. Not
Yeah,
just
it was. I
so
mean,
hot here.
that's kind of what made Sergeant York so
Yeah,
deadly. Number one, he had been using guns his entire life, and he was used to fighting. And then like they take like a big artillery barrage, and he thinks his entire company's dead, which they weren't, but he didn't know that at the time. So he starts moving on and crawling through sticker bushes and all kinds of stuff that most people wouldn't even think about doing. And then all of a sudden, they got this dude that doesn't miss coming out of the bushes behind their camp, and he's just dropping Germans left and right. And one of them pops up that speaks English. He's like, "If you stop killing, I'll make them surrender."
yeah. I think the thing about the rainforest and the jungle, I think the plant life is just a lot thicker.
Oh yeah,
It's not that thick in Appalachia. You can kind of make a path, walk through it, but there you just gotta. It's like you gotta have a machete with you all the time.
yeah,
I
and I mean, we were kind of fighting. They're saying their version of Appalachians over there is like they were used to the jungle, just like we're used to the forest here. And the soldiers didn't deserve to die. Like the Vietnam War was like it shouldn't have happened because the Gulf of Tonkin was a complete farce. Like it was a
Yeah.
straight up lie. And we go over there as invaders and then we get our asses kicked and it's all the politicians' fault because they're going to sit there in their air conditioned office while my type of people are getting killed by the hundreds of thousands. And it's dumb, but that's how politicians work.
It was dumb, and I think, I think there was also a change in it because you look at World War II, you still had sometimes the rich kids would fight. I mean, George Bush fought in World War II, but now it's all just and some of these people, around Appalachia, they just join the military because they don't really know of anywhere else to go. They're
Yeah.
totally apolitical.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, our enlistment rates are 15% higher than anywhere else in the country. We're extremely patriotic,
Yeah.
but a lot of us like don't quite realize just how much of a shit show the government is, and we start trusting the government and they get us killed or something. And you don't really know like just how bad Washington D.C. is until you come home and you're missing a body part and they refuse to pay you for it.
I know that they spend all this money on this weapons, but then they completely screw the veterans. And that's
Mhm.
one thing. If you've been hurt, in the war,
Mhm.
you've earned free health care for life, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree
I
completely.
absolutely believe that. It's and
Yeah,
granted,
like
that's a big bargain, but still, it's because that one thing affects everything else. And I just don't. Yeah, I don't. I think a lot of people in the small towns just I don't care about these people who live 10,000 miles away from me. They don't affect me. It's and in a
yeah,
lot of cases they don't. It's
yeah.
and I
It's
like to say, it's funny as much as talk about the hippies. One of the best anti-war songs is Loretta Lynn's "Dear Uncle Sam."
um
I don't know if you've heard that, but
I don't think I have. Sorry, I was silencing my phone there.
yeah,
Um but yeah, it's I need to know I know fellow Appalachians are gonna be like, you don't know that Loretta Lynn song? And I'm like, not
yeah.
really, because I'm not much of a country music person, but
But you certainly know who Loretta Lynn is.
oh,
She's as
absolutely.
Appalachian as she can get. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's from I think she's from East Tennessee where my
Well,
family's
she's
from.
from now. She's from Butcher Holler, Kentucky, which is eastern
Okay.
Kentucky. Yeah. So
Okay. So kind
yeah,
of the same landmass area, but
yeah, just as depressed. Yeah, she got on the radio and just yeah, but dear Uncle Sam is just about I know you need my man, but I need my man too, and that kind of thing. Just
oh wow. Right on.
and it ends with her saying yeah, and it ends with her reading off the text of the telegram because that was how you got the news back then. We
Yeah.
regret to inform you,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the lives don't mean anything to them, kind of like how Lincoln used the immigrants in the Civil War. They just send them into the meat grinder and they don't
yeah.
even care if they come home. Like
I think that was kind of a natural thing though, because there were just a lot more immigrants ended up in New York and ended up in Boston and ended up in Philadelphia.
yeah.
And there just weren't as many going to the South, although the blockade didn't help. And
Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest thing of it. And then a lot of people don't quite realize that when his draft that only applied to poor people like
yeah,
went into effect, it caused riots, and he ordered the Navy to suppress the riots even with artillery fire. Uh, they fired artillery into Five Points, New York, like
yeah,
they were attacking New York, and like and all because rich like the poor people didn't want to just be the only ones dying in the war.
the rich man's war, the poor man's fight. But
Mm.
the Lees, they always fought, and they were never poor.
That's true. Yeah,
You know
they were more of an aristocracy type
yeah.
family.
I could do it. I could do a whole. I could probably do 3 or 4 hours just talking about the history of the Lee family because they were so they're
I
so.
would
I mean,
I
they're
would
so
watch
much a
the heck
part of
out of
it.
that
Yeah,
because I would like to know more. Like we have excellent libraries up here, but the best you can really hope for is kind of being a generalist where you know a little bit about everything. But specialty topics like that, I would listen to that for hours upon hours.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the Lees certainly were. Well, you had generals in the Revolutionary War, general, of course, Robert E. Lee, and I don't know what they've done since. But, and of
Yeah,
course, some of those families were all interrelated to the Washingtons, the Jefferson's family, and of course the Randolphs, and
yeah. He wanted to stick with Virginia, whatever Virginia did. Virginia went with the South, and
yeah,
it was really fascinating the way he handled the defense of Richmond because like he would march his army out in like huge circles around the area, then circle back and come back into the city, and he kept doing that over and over again to confuse enemy scouts. And once they finally got bored of it, then that's when he made his moves. Like he's like, "Oh, they're just making another lap." No, no, he was gonna.
oh wow, yeah. I do wonder what was the sentiment in Southwest. Because this was Virginia split over this war, and you look at you go to Eastern Virginia and you have this large flat lands, this big plantation economy, but you go to Appalachia and there's no plantation economy because the geography makes it really impossible.
As far as I know, and this is just thumbing through a history book while I was waiting for a haircut. There was very few people from Southwest Virginia involved in the Civil War
Yeah,
because most of the families were new and they didn't have very many men to spare um, because it is rugged terrain. It's very hard. It's rocky. It takes men to actually tame it and take care of their families. Plus, there
yeah,
was still trouble with Indians even back then. But the there was the Grayson Daredevils, which I'm from Grayson County. They fought, I believe, and that was about it. I kind of thumbed through that Grayson County history book while I was.
yeah. The Grace and Daredevils are the Fourth Virginia Infantry Regiment. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that makes me ask the question. For example, why did Bland and Tazewell County end up in Virginia, and why did Mercer and McDowell County end up in West Virginia? I mean, I don't know
I don't know.
who eventually drew this line that decided. I don't know if they were really, if it was necessarily something fought over or they voted on it
I couldn't begin to
or
tell
what.
you. I've always wondered about that myself, but I've always been like a little deeper in the history books than Civil War. It was more like I could talk for hours about Hannibal Barca, like going into Rome, but I don't know about Bland County, just a little bit north of me.
Yeah. Well, I know, for example, that for a while the boundary between West Virginia and Virginia is actually the Eastern Continental Divide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
there's
it goes
actually a
south. Yeah.
mountain that there's a mountain that has a tunnel that you go through to go into it.
Are you talking about? Well, that's not on the Eastern Continental Divide, but you're talking about East River Mountain.
Uh, I think so. Yeah,
Well, East River
it's
Mountain is the tunnel that's split halfway between the states.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
you go in West Virginia and come out Virginia, or if
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah,
going the other way, it's the other way. But yeah,
yeah.
and those are some pretty big tunnels, and
Oh yeah,
those are also some of the few tunnels where you're allowed to pass or you're allowed to change lanes.
yeah. It's a solid line all the way through it, but I've never felt safe changing lanes
Well,
inside
maybe
of one.
that's been changed. Yeah,
Hmm.
I've not changed lanes and tunnels, so maybe that's been changed. But yeah, it's there because there's that tunnel, and they also built the big Walker Tunnel a little further south.
Yeah, yeah. Like my favorite gun range is up that way because you can just go back in the woods and blow crap up all day long.
I look at myself and think, how did they ever build a road here? My goodness.
Right. Well, you'd be surprised what you can do when you have to.
That's true. And of course, then the tunnels, but then there's also, you've probably been on Interstate 77 where there's that 4 mile stretch near the North Carolina border where
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got that enormous, you basically got a 4 mile hill, or
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you go from about 1,000 feet to about 2,500 feet, and
Yeah,
you
you feel your ears pop the entire time.
feel your ears popping. Sometimes there'll be a lot of fog gathering there and other things, and you get some nice views. But yeah, that's a
Yeah, still to this
you've
day,
got
there's a variable speed limit. Like the speed limit signs change automatically based on how much fog there is.
there are two or three. I think there are two or maybe three truck escape ramps on that hill going down. It's
Yeah, it's crazy. They there's always wrecks there even still. It's crazy. Like I-77, I always make
yeah.
the joke that that's the collective IQ of everybody on it.
That could be, yeah. It's like some people just don't know how to drive hills. I think that's often what makes people in the mountains tougher is they're never walking on flat land. They're always either walking up or walking down.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've got a 50-pound bag that I carry around and my legs are jacked. It's
Yeah,
yeah, like most survivalists don't carry anything even remotely that heavy, but like I keep all my tools on me at all times. I keep my like wilderness guides on me at all times, and though that alone right there is quite a bit of weight. Then I've got like Israeli combat bandages and stuff like that, like that I've shoved down in there, and I've got just about everything you can need to survive any situation pretty much, and I've just always got it on my back and my legs. Like I kind of embarrass my buddy at the gym because like we're doing body weight plus 70 pounds. And then I'm doing it with like one leg and he's doing it with two.
oh
Struggling.
wow, yeah. You walk,
Yeah.
yeah, you walk around. What ell's in your survival pack? I can imagine.
I need to actually do a video on that. Um, like do a unpack and repack because like the problem with
Yeah,
survival mentality is you kind of get this possum attitude where you just kind of always picking things up, being like, I can use that, I can use that, I can use that.
yeah,
And then your bag is full of trash later on, you know.
yeah.
But for the staples are I've got tourniquets, I've got a very good saw. It's a curved saw that I can just pop out and saw trees with. I've got my Rambo knife. It's a 10-inch
Yeah.
Marine combat knife. And then I've got a titanium canister, canteen, which I can cook with. You can put that thing in a fire and like it'll never even change shape. Um, I've got snips for cutting branches off because I don't like cutting down entire trees whenever I'm like doing kindling. Um, I like burning dead wood if I can because I'm a tree hugger.
Yeah.
And then let's see,
I,
I've got zip ties, I've got 1,000 feet of rope. Uh,
I think like sometimes life in nature it makes us all environmentalists, but we're not the crazy hippie environmentalists, but we really do care about the nature, the natural beauty. We want to keep it that way.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with killing a tree if you need it, but like,
Yeah,
there's no point to killing it. Like,
there's
and
a
I mean,
natural
we've got
cycle
plenty of
though.
trees around here, but the problem is most people don't realize that most of these trees around here, even though we have 10 trillion of them, most of that's new growth. When the settlers first arrived here, there were trees like bigger than the ones out west. Um, the Bigger than the redwood trees out west.
I can
Uh,
imagine.
and people cut them all down just to do logging and everything. There used to
Do
be these
logging, or
massive
you grow new ones, and seedlings
yeah,
go out, and you just and there's the natural progression. You know, trees get killed by fungus. They get killed by, oh God, those grapevines. Oh man.
yeah, and it's tragic because like those
Yeah.
huge trees, I mean, they survived things that most people don't even remember happening, like Krakatoa and shit like that.
Sometimes a lightning strike. Yeah, one of my favorite activities when I was younger is just going out and pulling vines, trying to pull them out of the cut them off and then try pulling them out. And boy, that's a fun activity,
Yeah,
but it doesn't really
you
work.
can a lot of those vines you can take and put like cut them and keep track of like where your which side was the bottom
Yeah,
and cut it right and stick that in pretty much raw sewage and then it's going to keep sucking the water out through the branch because it doesn't realize it's dead yet. And you can use that as a natural water filter and have it going into, even if it's like straight raw
Yeah,
sewage on this side, it'll completely clean the water and it'll have like less than 1 E. coli when you drop it into your container.
that's wild. Yeah, that's one thing
Yeah,
you really learn about. You learn about all these ways to clean up your water because you don't just want to drink
yeah.
water out of anything. It's just a massive. I got to ask: does your pack have a towel?
Uh, Douglas Adams would not
Yes, you
like
know
it,
why I'm
but
asking you about that. I
yeah,
was just
Douglas
thinking
Adams
about
wouldn't
that.
be happy, but no, it
Yeah,
doesn't have a towel.
I love that. I was going to read that little speech, about the towel.
Yeah, read it anyway. I love that.
A towel is just about the most massively useful thing quote, a towel is just about the most massively useful thing an interstellar hitchhiker can carry, partly because it has great practical value. You can wrap it around you for warmth as you bound across the cold moons of Jaglan Beta. You can lie on it on the brilliant marble sanded beaches of Traganus 5, inhaling the heady sea vapors. You can sleep under it beneath the stars which shine so readily on the desert world of Kakrafoon. Use it to sail a mini raft down the slow, heavy river Moth. Wet it for use in hand-to-hand combat. Wrap it around your head to warn off noxious fumes or avoid the gaze of the ravenous bug bladder beast of trawl. You can a mind-bogglingly stupid animal. It assumes that if you can't see it, it can't see you. Deft as a brush, but very ravenous. You can wave your towel in emergencies as a distress signal, and of course, you can dry yourself off with it if it still seems clean enough. More importantly, a towel has immense psychological value. For some reason, if a strag discovers that a hitchhiker has his towel with him, he will automatically assume that he is also in possession of a toothbrush, washcloth, soap, tin of biscuits, flask, compass, map, ball of string, gnat spray, wet weather gear, spacesuit, and so on. Furthermore, the strag will then happily lend the hitchhiker any of these or a dozen other items that the hitchhiker might have accidentally lost, while the strag will think that it is that any man who can hitch the length and breadth of the galaxy, rough it, slum it, struggle through terrible odds, win through, and still knows where his towel is clearly a man to be reckoned with. End of quotation. Yeah, that is great.
I absolutely love those books, man. Because like I think it's like book
Yeah,
2. Like he figured, like Arthur learns how to fly, and he
yeah.
like the secret to it is you throw yourself at the ground and miss.
I remember when we went to see, the movie, The Hitchhiker's
Mhm.
Guide to the Galaxy. And of course, half the people who showed up, had a towel over their shoulder just to symbolize, their loyalty for it.
Yeah,
And
one year.
nobody's really. It does look like kind of silly. Why is this guy walking around with a towel? But nobody's really going to say anything either. It's just,
Some friends of mine, they run a sci-fi con, and one year I
yeah,
shaved up and I wore my bathrobe and everything. I had a towel around my neck and everything, and like only like 2 people guessed that I was Arthur Dent.
yeah. I got to ask too. If you needed to hide out, do you think you could hide out in Appalachia for a while? Or you think they'd find it with your
Oh yeah,
survival pack?
like
It sounds like you probably could hide out fairly well.
oh my God, like Appalachia's full of caves. Like
Yeah,
there's so many caves. Like you have to actively like make sure you're paying attention to where you're walking. Like a lot of people like when you're when you're walking through the woods, like just naturally all of us are like looking down at our feet as we're walking, and people ask why that is. A lot of people think it's like low self-esteem or something. I was like, no, it's a survival thing. Trust me. Like there's snakes, there's like sinkholes that you could just fall into and never be heard from again. My theory is that's what happened to Tom Messick. Like a lot of people don't realize like just how many caves there are in Appalachia. Like even the Underground Railroad. Like the gates of the Underground Railroad where the slaves escaped, like those were like the Quaker communities, right? Because the Quakers would hide the slaves that were trying to
yeah,
escape. But the rails to the railroad, that was the Appalachian Mountains, like the interior and exterior ridge lines, because the forests are so thick, you can hide from slave hunters all day long and they'll never find you. And they finally came out in Canada, and you can hide up here forever.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. Speaking of, I can't remember. I think you posted this picture a few weeks ago. I want to share this picture. Or your account posted this picture a while ago, but it might have been another account. But it was like this, talking about what you might be aware of in the woods or in the wild.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This picture here, and you're kind of and some people said I saw it immediately, country girl eyes, and some of our people might not see this, and I don't know if I can zoom in on this or not, but I definitely want to show but I just love it. I got to confess, I'm embarrassed to say you had to point it out, but then now I know. I hope I can retrain myself back to identifying stuff like this.
Yeah, it's dead center right there.
It's kind of in the center. Yeah, there's this little. If I can I guess I can put my mouse on it. There's this little leaf right here, and then there it is. Oh
yep,
boy, there's that little, you see the little curve, that curved leaf? No, leaves aren't curved. That's a snake who blended right in with that surrounding. Isn't that just wild?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're a little easier to see than like on a picture like that. Like, but you still have to be paying attention.
That's why I said you keep an eye on where your feet are. It's or if you wear, or of course if you're wearing boots or whatever, you'll probably be okay. But
I wear my boots everywhere I go. Like these right here are fantastic. The ones that I
well, those are high tops, not boots, but yes. But anyway, same effect, yeah. And also they help. I think they help keep you're a lot less likely to have an ankle twist or something like that on.
Oh yeah,
when you're wearing your high tops. I bought a pair of high tops right down before I went down to the Amazon rainforest, which is said, I better have some high tops for this also, because and of course now you still have to worry about the water, but yeah, those snakes are everywhere.
Plus thanks to Pablo Escobar, there's a hippo problem.
That was in Colombia, but actually from what I've heard, the Colombian government went out and sterilized them. So
did they? Okay.
They didn't kill them, but they sterilized them. So because I don't think he had more than 10 of them, but they realized this could become a problem if we let it stay here, because
absolutely,
they're not native to South America, and if they're in a place where they have no natural predators, because lions do hunt them, that could be a problem. Yeah, the whole indigenous species things. Yeah, it's a big deal. I don't know. You get any kudzu up there that far? That's certainly a nightmare.
Oh yeah, kudzu everywhere. Like it's completely devoured the South. Like the government used to pay people to plant it. Is why there's so much of it, because it would easily feed the cows when they were away at war and stuff like that. And then people quit slowly over time, like keeping cows, and now you can't get rid of it. Like no matter what you want, no matter what you try,
it's one of those plants, I think they took it from a dry area, put it into a wet area, and it's like, oh yeah, hey, now we got water, we can really grow.
They've actually taken it up to space too, and it grows better in space.
Our favorite plant back where I'm from, of course, was the dreaded multiflora.
Not familiar with that one.
Well, they would create rose bushes, and they would use it as a natural fence.
Oh, cool.
But the problem is seeds. Birds eat seeds. Birds swallow seeds. Birds, do what birds do. The seeds end up everywhere, so the bushes end up everywhere.
Oh wow! Okay.
So yeah, you had a natural fence, and a fence that's not really easy to cross. But then now, we've got these crappy rose bushes everywhere.
I guess that explains why blackberries are everywhere too.
Birds are why plants, because birds eat the seeds, and birds, birds shit anywhere too, and so I've seen some of those some of those trackers where they've put these trackers on birds, and then you see how much they fly, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
Right.
I can imagine if they put it on a bald eagle down there, see where that bald eagle goes.
I'd say they probably got every single one of those tagged. I've heard of people getting arrested just for like looking at one through their rifle scope without even shooting at it. Like they were just using that because that's all they had. And I'm like, good God.
Because they were just using the scope. I get it. Yeah, I can see that. But well, you might accidentally shoot it, but
Yeah.
But that's good why you have a good pair of binoculars, because they are amazing looking birds. Or
Yeah, I've got that in my bag too. I forgot to
take
mention
your
that.
take your photograph with a nice big zoom lens. You probably still have a lot of areas out there where you can get completely cut off from cell phone. Is that right or not?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's like a million cell towers, and like the cell service is still terrible because just
Usually, if you're in the
the
valley, yeah.
yeah it's really based on like where people have allowed towers to build. Like you end up knowing all the dead zones, so you
Yeah.
know when you're going to go into one and when you're going to come out of it. But uh my buddy from Ireland, like he got out on the Blue Ridge Parkway and like zero cell signal, trapped in the fog, like it's some Stephen King movie, and he was freaking out. Like,
I'm surprised. Usually, because usually what helps is if you're higher up, you'll have the connectivity. But then once you go
yeah,
down in the valleys and the hollows, you won't have it.
yeah. My theory is it's the iron content in the trees because they got iron oxide in them. That's where
Yeah.
and then there's like a special chemical. I forget the name of the chemical, but the trees here exude that, and
Yeah.
it protects them from the sun. That's where the blue from the Blue Ridge Parkway comes from.
Well, also you hear about what they call blue grass in Kentucky. I'm like, I've been in Kentucky. The grass doesn't look any different there. You know,
I've only spent like maybe a half day in Kentucky, so I wouldn't know.
you, seriously?
Yeah. I've really never been up there that much. Yeah.
Because you live what, 60 miles from Kentucky? I mean, if you're in
Well,
Southwest Virginia, you're not that far away from it.
yeah. Okay. You've read Douglas Adams, so I'm gonna assume you've read Tolkien too. Like I'm
No.
Tom Bombadil. Like I don't leave my like I have a very
I know people like that. Yeah, people who have never
yeah.
went more than 50 miles from home. It's
Yeah.
I
I don't.
think
I
that's
mean, I've traveled like crazy, but like I don't like it. I like here, like my
I
little.
I can say that of course I was born. I was raised in the northern Panhandle, so I'm far away from Kentucky. But Kentucky was the last of all the states that border West Virginia. Kentucky was the last one I ever got into, and that was after I'd visited many others, just because I never had a reason to go there. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I feel like I kind of do like an extended Melungeon area, like Southwest Virginia, and then like East Tennessee, and
yeah.
then Western North Carolina. Like I'm always in that area, and if I leave it, I get very cranky and pissed off.
Yeah, it's home. It's
Yeah. Like Texas made me nervous. I think I counted like 17 trees the entire time I was there. And I was like, if I can count the number of trees that you have, we got a problem.
it's funny. I gotta tell you that's something I didn't think I'd miss much, but I do miss a lot of the plant life up there.
Yeah.
I miss maple trees. I miss rhododendrons. I miss some of the flowers. The rhododendron is actually the state flower of West Virginia. It's just an absolutely beautiful flower, and it's just
It's psychoactive too. Like that's what they make mad honey out of. They'll put bees' nests near the rhododendrons when they're in their like spring bloom.
mad
And
honey. I've
for a
never heard
very
of that.
short window, they have like a psychedelic like sap that they put out, and the bees make that and make mad honey. And there was a missing 411 case where the boy turns out he was living in a patch of rhododendron bushes eating the flowers, and they couldn't find him. And he comes back and he's like he has stories of like he was living at his grandfather's mansion and like a grandfather's cabin or whatever, and eating flowers and stuff like that. So he was just tripping balls for like 2 weeks, and they finally found him.
Oh wow, you could probably hide out in a patch of rhododendron too. Stuff gets pretty thick, and it's not going to be
Yeah,
easy to see you. I
and
remember.
people seen him going in and out of the flowers, and they just
Yeah,
didn't think to think like maybe this kid needs help because I guess kids just play in them. But
I remember, the last time I said goodbye to my brother. My brother's dog would often go. He had some basset hounds, and he'd crawl and kind of hide out under the rhododendron bushes too. It was kind of funny. I think he just would go there and sleep. Maybe it was because it was cool. Maybe it was because it was on the ground. but it also provided some shade, so it was cooler for him. It was
Yeah.
because I remember when I was saying, when I was leaving my brother's house the last time I saw that dog, and I just kind of said, hey, Boomer, come out of here, and I was just kind of telling him, hey, Boomer, I just want to say goodbye to you, buddy, and it was funny. I think that was the one, and I got to a point too where I could kind of tell when dogs were getting close to the end, which is not a fun thing. But I actually said, "I love you, Boomer," and I said goodbye. And that was the last time. It was.
I
Yeah.
hear that.
It was nice. I got to tell Boomer I loved him. So yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was already getting kind of slow. I don't think he was hearing me as well and stuff like that. Just
Yeah, I had to put one down just last year. He had finally lost the use of his back legs, and he would just lay there in his dog bed, just going, "Arr, arr, arr," and I was like,
yeah.
Man.
It's a tough decision, but sometimes you just realize they're just, and that was the thing my brother's asked to do. He doesn't seem. It got to a point with one dog, and I said, "Well, he doesn't seem like he's unhappy, and just when they get to that point where they just seem like they're sad all the time, the hearing kind of goes, then the eyes were never that good, but they still got the nose, and they can still navigate the house, but then they just."
Yeah, I think he had the cataracts in his eyes and everything like that, and like he could still get around because he had his sense of smell, but he died fighting. Like he didn't like when the vet stuck him, like he was trying to fight the vet. I was like, you little badass, like, but I mean, he was paralyzed. He couldn't live anymore, and I was
they
know,
they know, don't they? They know. They really know.
I didn't tell my wife that, but yeah, like he crossed the Rainbow Bridge like a Viking berserker. So like,
yeah, they probably. I think they do know some of those things. They just it's a.
Yeah.
And and of course, a place like you too, you might worry, they might just go somewhere and get lost. It's you don't want that to happen.
We don't really let our pets outside because there's like hawks and stuff like that, and
hawks.
Yeah, like buzzards.
The hawks pick up the dogs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these things get huge. It's crazy. Like they'll just swoop down and take a whole cat.
Are these Chihuahuas or are they?
Well, yeah, the one that I'm talking about was a Chihuahua, but like they picked up smaller dogs and been able to fly them up and then just drop them, and then they come back and eat them. And
oh man, what a way to kill something! That would be a way to do it though. You pick them up and
Gosh. Well, that's I don't know if you ever heard of Aeschylus in like he was the poet. He was a poet in Greece, and anyway, he the way he died was like he started having bad dreams about his death, and he went to a fortune teller.
Yeah.
And he said he told her what was going on, and she said, "Beware of falling objects." So naturally, Aeschylus like, okay, well, I'll spend time out, not being inside. I'll be out in nature more. And they found him with a dead turtle next to him, and apparently an eagle thought his bald head was a rock, and it dropped it on his head and it killed him. And
I remember my grandmother once said, "Oh, the despisable hawk." But she said, she talked about how they'd grab baby chicks or something like that. I never imagined they were actually picking up dogs. That's wild. Cats. Yeah,
the buzzards here will have like almost a I want to say like 1.5 meter wingspan. Like they're big birds.
Well, buzzards aren't buzzards don't they mostly feed on dead stuff or?
They do, but they'll take an active role in it if they get hungry. And
I remember we were kind of wondering we were driving along. We saw a hawk pick a snake up off the road. It's kind of like you see a hawk with like, what the heck is that? Oh,
right.
Yeah,
they'll swoop down and just take something, and if they might not be able to carry it very high, but they'll carry it just high enough to where they can just drop it and at least.
I never realized that. Yeah, they pick it up, drop it, and then that breaks its legs, so then it possibly can't, and it might still be alive, but then it's impossible. It can't possibly live though.
It's pretty terrible stuff. Like it's a effed up way to die.
Falling is not the I can dogs and owls. Yeah, I never imagined the birds would be a threat to your. They wouldn't do that with a German Shepherd
No,
or a pit bull probably, but with a
that's
smaller
way
dog.
too big. Yeah.
I can imagine with a smaller dog. That's
Yeah, Jake, he was I think he was max like 8 pounds, like which is
yeah.
pretty heavy for a Chihuahua, but the like I think he was mixed with something, but yeah, he was like 8 pounds and like he could have been swooped off and at least killed by a hawk because he was a frail little thing. He was almost 18 years old whenever he finally passed.
Yeah. I wonder the hawks. Any other birds I should be aware of? It's
Not to my knowledge. I think that's the big one. Like they don't like humans, so you don't have to worry about them yourself. But they keep their distance from humans.
well, if they can't pick it up, it's obviously a threat. That's what I'd say.
Mm.
It's funny the whole thing dropping it. That's wild. Drop. I can imagine they're dropping it. But that's what people might not realize. You drop a quarter off the Empire State Building, you can kill somebody.
Yeah, yeah,
It's because
yeah.
it's the acceleration. It's just going that fast.
Yeah, at 9.8 meters per second adds up very, very quickly.
Yes, it does. It's yeah. You ever have any falls out there, or anybody have any falls off or is it, or maybe there aren't that many cliffs out there because the Appalachian Mountains they're so rolling. You don't really have a lot of
Yeah,
steep
yeah,
places.
they're pretty well eroded. They've been above the ocean for about 500 million years now. Um,
Yeah,
like just this area of Virginia has been, I think it's almost a billion years. Like I think,
yeah.
if memory serves, what I read a lot, and it's hard to remember everything. But
Oh yeah, it is hard to remember everything. Yeah, there's no
yeah,
white watering down there, is there? Is that more up north? It's
not to my knowledge. There's a
yeah,
few small waterfalls, but they're
yeah. But
they're not.
people like go up into around Summersville, West Virginia, or on the Golly and the New River up there. They go there. It's
The roughest waters I've ever seen in the New River is Lake New River Gorge beneath that
yeah.
huge bridge in West Virginia.
Well, you've got to have
And
you've got to have a fairly big river to go white watering. You can't just do it on a little creek somewhere. It's
yeah,
maybe just one thing. Did you get impacted by Helene much there or not?
I'm on top of like a 1,000-foot hill
Yeah,
for my house, and I got really lucky. The power was just out for like 3 days, and then they got it turned back on. But some other people got pretty jacked up around here. The bridge beneath me got washed away. Like it's one of those like small bridges that aren't properly built. Like it's just bolted in place that you just kind of drive across, and they just dragged it back up the river and bolted it back down.
is that like a metal bridge where they just bolt it down? Is it like one of those bridges that's on top of some big pipes, or sometimes
Yeah,
just
yeah, they
bridges
they
like
just dragged it back
that?
up river and bolted it back in place
Yeah,
because
so
the
yeah,
bridge was
they're not
fine. It
really
just
they're
got
not really
washed.
designed for anything larger than a big pickup truck.
Yeah,
So, you're definitely not going to take an 18-wheeler across those things. But you're not
no,
going to
that's definitely not a good idea.
yeah, you're not going to take an 18-wheeler around there. 18-wheeler wouldn't even be able to get to it anyway. But yeah, but you got
Yeah,
these
it did
dirt
some
roads
it
and
did some severe damage to the water plant near here that
oh
handles the town water. The power was gone, and then they had to clean a bunch of stuff out, and then that got the water back to the city area. Like we call it a city, but it's really a town.
yeah
They just made it a city because that's how Virginia laws work. Like cities are separate from counties,
yeah.
and
Virginia has that where the cities actually are totally independent of the counties. They're
yeah,
of course a different state governments will have like it's a city, it's a village, it's a town, and
mhm,
like in Pennsylvania they like to use the word borough, but and it often is defined by population though because there's
right,
different laws for different sizes. It's yeah
yeah. It's I love Virginia laws because there's even laws protecting militias. Like a lot of states are like you can't have a militia at all, and Virginia's like, yep,
it's that old revolutionary spirit. Yeah, it's
oh, 100%.
and
Yeah,
I think a lot of those were applied to West Virginia too. It's
yeah. Back in 2021 when Ralph Northam was like going crazy passing all those laws, like a lot of people don't realize we had almost a full scale boogaloo here in Virginia. Like he didn't even campaign on gun laws at all. Like even the lefty like commie weirdos around here are like very pro 2A, and like so he pissed off both the left and the right with that. And all the militias came marching out of the hills, and they went to Richmond and told him that if he passed even a single more gun law, he would be forcibly removed from office and arrested and tried before the National Guard. And he quit passing gun laws. He got the message. It was and my sheriff led 94 counties of worth of sheriffs to Richmond and told him they will not enforce his laws like at all.
Yes, the beauty of I can imagine the Appalachian County Sheriff. There probably is.
Oh, he's a
they
badass.
will just tell the state or the feds, "This is my county.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my county."
Yeah, my sheriff's a badass, but let me tell you about some badasses up in West Virginia. Like there was this guy that was on my uncle's land, and my uncle caught him and called the cops and drove him off, and they didn't quite realize that he was a wanted felon, right? And they let him go. And he gets up to West Virginia and starts like showing his ass, and the West Virginia state troopers shoot his ass off a cliff. They shoot him off a cliff, and then he lays at the bottom of it for like 3 days because they don't have the resources to just go down there and get him. And they're like, he'll be there when we go get him. The West Virginia state troopers roll hard, man. You don't mess with those guys, man.
It's been a very interesting. I wonder if we had there does seem to be less of a. I don't know how we got into this place where we just tolerate crime. And when people are convicted and they're still back out on the street again, it's so. That's one thing I've noticed. Like you said, it's like you get out into the mountains, like you said, even the weirdos, they suddenly become pro-gun.
Yeah,
I wonder what it is about that. It's pretty wild, And West Virginia used to be so blue.
Yeah. The Democrats,
the unions, all that stuff.
Yeah, like the Democrats used to be the party of freedom, like for the longest time, because it was democracy. That's the name of it. Yeah. And then they just start going left and left and left and left, and they've still got roads named after Senator Robert Byrd up in West Virginia.
Byrd will never be scrubbed. Byrd won't be scrubbed in West Virginia.
And like he was a I think what was his rank? It was like Imperial Wizard or something like that in the Klan.
Yeah, he was involved with the Klan. He later disavowed that, but he was involved with the Klan. Yeah, it was in some cases too, and I heard this from a lady in Tennessee. You were at her town. She talked about my dad. My dad went to college and never went back to that town because you were basically, it was like, why aren't you in the Klan? You were basically drafted. I mean, the only way not to be in the Klan was to leave town, which is I think quite immoral. But
no, absolutely, yeah. It's I think they're pretty much died out because I've never even met a Klan member, and I've lived here since I was like 9, and that's been 30 years ago. But yeah, like most people around here, they're not racists. They're welcoming. Like if you're an immigrant, and you come here and you assimilate, and you're not trying to be some violent asshole, you quickly become family. Like you really do. Like
it kind of is that way. The one thing I have heard sometimes, especially in Appalachia, one of the worst things you do is move in and take a job that somebody else could have had. But
I've never really heard a problem with that, but like if somebody comes down here showing their ass and like trying to boss people around, they get the BTFO real quick.
Well, one thing I always remember about immigrants too is, hey, we make this really cool dish over here in my country, and you want me to share it with you? I said, sure. It's like, or the immigrants say, hey, let's open up a restaurant. It's like that. All that Mexican guys selling tacos. Those tacos are really good. We like those tacos.
Yeah. There's this Jamaican guy that makes food for the Appalachian podcast that I was on, and and he's pretty much family to him, because like he moved
Yeah,
here, he became American,
yeah,
and like he left his bullshit at the border, so
yeah. In my hometown, we had a Pakistani who was an eye doctor. So he's
Mhm.
actually not just, he was actually
Oh,
pretty
wow,
well off too. I
wow,
mean, had just nice people in the community. It's a he
yeah.
actually opened up this facility. And he actually put up poles. He put up all 50 state flags. That's about as American as you can be. Yeah, that's what
Yeah, no kidding.
Travis. That's something I've thought about.
What's that?
I don't really care that much if somebody burns the American flag, but if I see somebody burn a West Virginia flag, I will be. I've never seen it happen, but I might be very upset.
Yeah. Yeah, I am patriotic. Like
Yeah,
I'm mythologically patriotic. Like that flag, it means everything to me.
yeah,
Like I didn't just drink the Kool-Aid. I dried that shit out in the sun. I scraped it off into a powder and I snorted it. That's how
yeah,
patriotic I am. Like my like I didn't serve in the military, but like
yeah,
like almost everybody in the my family has, and like it's just like it's unthinkable to me for somebody to burn the American flag. Like I mean, obviously, constitutionally, it's their First Amendment right to do so, but
yeah.
I don't want anything to do with anybody who does. Like,
I feel but we've so lost her. Sometimes I feel like places like Appalachia are the one place where America's still left because we've
yeah.
so lost this country. I mean,
My
I
theory
can
is it's
understand why
comfort. Like everybody's gotten so comfortable and just they don't struggle for anything, but we still struggle here, and we understand how lucky we are. Like we've got grocery stores and stuff like that, obviously, and
you know,
power and water and whatever, but like if you don't have family and community here, you're kind of boned. Like
yeah,
I know all my neighbors, like they know they can call me any time of the day if they need something. I salt my elderly neighbors' steps. Like there's still community here, and like and Hollywood wants to trick everybody into thinking we're just inbred savages up here when really
yeah.
we're just warrior poets.
Well,
Like,
well, I remember I was in the Austin Library once, and I saw this sign that said, "No kids under 10 unaccompanied without adults," and I'm like, "What?"
wow.
You go to places like Appalachia, you still might, like you still might have you still might have 6-year-old kids who walk them out of school,
Yeah, yeah. Like
stuff like that.
Holly would just
Where you
drop
still
me
have
off at the
kids.
library
Kids
sometimes,
are,
and I would just
but the point is, kids are allowed to allowed to go out and learn to live life. They're not expected to be, this helicopter parenting crap that
yeah.
where, and you just have this attitude that the kids go out and like, like when I jokingly said you're an old man when you touched a gun, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, you're
yeah,
kind of right because, like, I mean, let's see, when I was 8, they just kind of let me go wandering in the woods for hours at a
oh
time.
yeah,
Like, how many parents are going to do that these days? So,
go wandering in the woods, or yeah, go.
yeah, me and my brother, we still got little scars where we'd shoot each other with BB guns.
Jeez. Gosh, yeah, I can imagine. Yes,
Then
throwing
one gets
rocks.
stuck in
Yes.
your arm and you just like picking it out.
Oh gosh, yeah, I can imagine. Just crazy what happens when you go out and do this. Yeah, Tra- Travis, do you see any? Are there any problems with meth going around there now or not?
Yeah, the
hate talking
opioid
about this, but
epidemic hit this area really, really
yeah,
bad, and meth has always been a problem. A lot of people don't realize that the government created that one too. Like there was something that they gave to troops in war called
oh,
Prohibition, and they would give it to troops, and then the government lied about it being addictive, obviously, because they always do. And soldiers would come home still needing that fix, and they started figuring out how to make their own meth. And the opioid epidemic alone killed roughly 65,000 people. And
yeah,
the and to make people understand that number, um, in 1945, August 6th, when we dropped the first nuclear bomb, on Japan, it killed about 70,000 people in the initial flash, like the actual just boom, not counting what immediately died. Like, I mean, and in the,
Mm,
bleh, okay, tongue tied there. Around 250,000 people died, like in total, but from just the initial explosion, it was around
yeah,
70,000. And it's like somebody dropped a nuke on Appalachia. That's how
yeah.
much. That's how many people died due to the opioid epidemic. And it was all revealed in court documents that they purposely targeted us uh,
Wow.
because, yeah. So I mean, and they got away with it. They made their money. The Sackler family's still rich.
Gosh.
Maybe they'll burn in hell one day, but
Yeah, I don't know what, because it seems like this whole area just gets so. I do sometimes, attribute it to what I call the culture of hopelessness.
yeah,
You see the mind, you look, and I like to use McDowell County as an example, which isn't too
yeah,
far away, but McDowell County was the third most populous county in West Virginia in 1950, had almost 100,000 people, and now it's
right,
down to about 25,000. The coal
yeah,
mines closed, all this other stuff closed, all these people moved out, and there's people, and you just got it's just where people have just said, "There's no, I'm never going to find a job here," and I think, if I was outsource, I would outsource. I mean, for example, I might outsource a call center to a place like Bristol or Beckley
mm.
before I'd outsource it to India. And I think if you did that, you'd probably get people lining up for jobs. I really do.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, we're getting jobs now because there's
Yeah.
more hospitals. Like a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize, like hospitals have to be in an area before jobs will even consider
Yeah.
like
Well,
coming
well,
here.
well, well, people are also getting older too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because the
and
old people are entrenched there. And,
yeah, a lot of people move away from this area, and I've never even really considered moving away, like
yeah.
at least not seriously. Like my brother, he moved to Louisiana, but he's in the military,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about moving down there for a bit, and then I realized that I couldn't see the stars at night. And I have been able to see that my entire life. And I don't think I could psychologically handle not being able to see the stars. And down there, the light pollution's so bad you can barely see the moon. And I'm just like, damn.
You must have been in town. Yeah. Did you,
Yeah,
you, got,
it
you
was
got
in
some nice,
Shreveport.
you got some nice telescopes or,
No, no, you can just see the stars with your eyes here. Like
yeah.
it's and I just look up sometimes and
Yeah.
just stare at them for no reason, and
Yeah.
it's
Th- th-
mentally calming.
This is a reason though why you should maybe possibly travel way down in South America some though, because you'd see completely different stars down there. But you'd still see the
One day I
stars.
want to go to the Keck Observatory over in Hawaii because it's just so far away from all the light pollution, and you can
Yeah.
see the actual Milky Way galaxy in the sky and all that.
They have I think they have a lot of, well, one place you could have went to, I don't know if you know about the National Radio Observatory.
Can't say I do.
That's in Greenbank, West Virginia, which is in Pocahontas County, which isn't and
Okay.
that's not too far from Staunton. So you're not that far from that. Uh,
I was up. I
it's
was up. I was
Yeah,
up at Point Pleasant a couple weeks ago. We
yeah,
were visiting the Mothman statue and all that.
yeah. Yeah, I never had much interest in that, but Point Pleasant. But yeah, but that's a little that's not a bad. That's I don't know if they do much there anymore either. But I know the big observatories nowadays are all around Tucson, Arizona, because it's high up and it's always clear out there.
Right. Right.
Because they never, because of course it gets hotter, and Tucson's a little higher, so it doesn't get. Tucson's about 2,000 feet, so it doesn't get as hell hot as Phoenix does. Because you
Right.
probably wouldn't want to be in because that's one thing. That's one thing about Appalachia. It doesn't get hell hot like it does in some places.
It feels like hell hot. You get to around 100 degrees on a really bad day, and then it'll
Hey,
be like 100% humidity in
how
it.
many 100-degree days do you get there though? You really
Like
don't get that many, do you?
very few, but still it
Yeah,
happens. Like my brother, he got married in September, and my hair gel was like melting into my
yeah.
face.
But if you go up a few thousand feet, too, it also cools things off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've noticed too. Also, I think I also think when you're in an area that has a lot more plants and you probably maybe have a little more oxygen in the air, though. I think it makes it a little less overwhelming when you can breathe a little easier. And so,
Yeah.
when I
I
went down, to the rainforest, 2 days I completely adjusted to it. It was like nothing because,
Oh
and
wow.
hardly anybody has AC in that place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a because that's the Peruvian Amazon. People are they're just that poor. I mean,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
I'm sorry, yeah. You think people in southern West Virginia are poor? I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
go to the Amazon. Yeah,
Yeah.
then
I
you
mean, we're
really see.
extremely lucky up here.
Yeah,
Like a lot of people don't realize, like even our poorest people here in the States are overweight
yeah,
in many cases.
people. Yeah, if you've never left America, you don't know what poverty looks like. It's
Well, when I was in South Africa, like the Kayasan squatter camp where we were passing out
oh,
medicine and stuff like that, like the houses are quite
yeah,
literally made of trash, like just
yeah,
whatever they found in the landfill.
yeah. What did you get? What took you to South Africa? Jeez.
It was the Southern Baptist Church that I was with.
Oh,
We went to on a mission trip, and
oh,
we were passing out medicine, and then like my wing of the trip, like we were like babysitting the kids, making sure like the parents could go to church and stuff like that.
oh, wow.
And the kids had never even seen their own photograph, like because like it was a city, it
Yeah,
was in Johannesburg, but like they had never actually had like a cell phone that they could
yeah,
look at, and I was like filming videos of them, and they were like really enjoying like the
yeah. The kid, yeah. The
yeah
kid,
they
yeah,
the kids will tug at your heartstrings because they're completely innocent, and at one point, like there's this little girl. I was asking her what her name was because she was like there, and she was like kind of hiding in the corner, and I was like, "What's your name?" And she was like, and she just kind of stares at me. And I was like, "Wait, she probably speaks Zulu." And I was like, "Igamalu Miki." She's like, "Kesha," because that's how you ask what your name is in Zulu is Igamalu Miki. And anyway, her name was Kesha. And anyway, she kind of
yes,
started playing with the other kids then when she realized she was safe. And yeah, it's crazy over there. It's a completely
yeah.
different world.
Yeah, that's one thing. Those little kids places like that, they've never been photographed. They think it's so cool that they can take a picture of themselves. They
Yeah, they
really
don't
love
even know
that.
what they look like before
They
that.
might even
Like
know
they
what.
don't even have mirrors
Yeah,
really.
they don't
Like
have. That's wild. They don't even have mirrors yet. Yeah, I
they
didn't
have this
realize.
one little game that they play,
You
which
just seem
is
like you seem like
adorable.
such a homebody that it's like, wait a minute, you went to South. It's like, wait a minute, you went to
Oh
South
yeah,
Africa. You know, it's like, yeah,
yeah. I'll travel. I just
yeah.
bitch about it the entire time I'm gone. I'm like, I want to
Because
go home.
you probably had to go to, well, you probably had to go to Charlotte, and then you had to
Yeah,
go Charlotte, and then
flew.
who knows where
I,
you went after that. Yeah,
I took a connector flight from Charlotte and then to Atlanta, and then we flew out of Atlanta about 4 hours after that.
yeah,
And it was 16 hours going over there, but it was like 22 hours coming back because like we were fighting a
yeah,
200-hour headwind,
yeah.
mile an hour headwind.
I think that's one of and I think that's maybe one of the only flights that goes direct to the African continent anywhere from the U.S. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Delta is what we flew, and
you know,
I can't sleep at all at that altitude, so I was awake the entire time. I took like 4 sleeping pills that I bought at the terminal, and I got maybe
yeah.
30 minutes of sleep. I don't know how people sleep on planes. Like I've never done
Well,
it.
you don't really know you're at the altitude. I always have one of those. I always make sure I can cover up my eyes too, and that way
Yeah,
also people know that you want to sleep, so they know to leave you alone. But yeah,
yeah.
I've actually slept fairly well on planes, but yeah, you get packed in tight too. It doesn't. I feel sorry you can't sleep on a plane. You probably
Yeah, then
you
your
can get
feet
lots of
swell up too when you're on that
you
in
can get
there
lots
for
of
that
reading
long.
done. You can get a lot of reading done, or watch a few movies. Fortunately, but yeah,
Yeah. I've watched some good movies on planes. One was Cloud Atlas. I thought the movie was terrible at first, and then I finally figured out what was going on, and then I'm like, wow, this movie's awesome.
yeah. Well, this has been. I think we're gonna wrap up here, Travis. I thought this would be a really great talk. It's just two guys winging it. Sometimes that's the best way to
Right.
do it. It's
I feel like I do better when I wing it because if I have a
yeah,
script, I feel like a robot. So,
It's good having you on here. Yeah, where can we find you out there? It's
I'm mostly on Twitter. I'm trying to branch out to other platforms, but Facebook kept banning me, so I gave up on that. And then
Yeah, well, YouTube. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. So, and I'm on,
right on.
and I got my audio host, and of course, it's easy too. Once you get your audio host set up, you just do RSS feeds, and you can go to like 30. Yeah, you can send yourself to 30 sites, but you only have to upload audio once.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm
really easy to
terrible
make
with
it work.
technology. Like I'm basically a caveman, so that's
The only two sites you really need though are Apple and Spotify. I mean,
okay.
after that, none of them have more than 5% of the share, but a bunch of them there's a bunch that like have 1, 2, or 3. It's Apple and Spotify are about 80%, I think, but then it goes. But yeah, and the video sites
Yeah,
are
I
nice
should get
too.
started on Spotify. They seem like they're pretty free speech. That's
Yeah. Well, usually I have a host that I pay for, and they host the audio files, and Spotify just pulls off of them. It's
yeah,
pretty wild. I've only been censored on YouTube once, fortunately. Yeah, I don't even hardly bother with Facebook anymore.
yeah.
I think Facebook has kind of said that to me too. It's kind of unfortunate, but yeah,
I always get banned for dumb stuff too. Like it was like I was talking about a video game one time, and it flags that for violence. And I'm like, it's Skyrim. Like,
yeah, like Matt Forney said the other day, he was referring to a business, but he said something like, "I hope it dies," and that got flagged. And I said, "Well,
yeah,
he's not talking about a person or an animal. He's talking about
yeah,
And you'll hear people use the word, you'll say people like say, I hope this TV show dies, or
yeah,
I hope this business dies. They don't mean, you know, uh, or I hope this. Yeah, so that was unfortunate. Well, yeah, well, it's been
yeah.
cool
It's
having you
just
on
a
here,
turn of
Travis.
phrase, and the their whatever their AI is doesn't
Oh
understand
gosh,
context
yeah.
at all.
Well, please like this show, subscribe to the channel, go buy my novel, Escape from the Village. Check out my Substack. People are giving me money to buy me a coffee. Thank you, Travis Wells from Appalachian Liberty. I'm Chris Baker. We're out. Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you.